Hello and welcome to Express News. I'm Rukma, and in the next half an hour we take you through the top 100 stories making headlines across India and the world. Well, let's begin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the Siddhaganga Mutt, home to his spiritual guru Shiv Kumar Swami, on his two-day visit to Karnataka today. The PM paid obeisance to his guru, who died last year in January, and also planted a sapling on the Mutt premises. Prime Minister Narendra Modi conferred Krishi Karman Awards and Commendation Awards to states at a public meeting in Tumkur in Karnataka today. The PM also gave away the Agriculture Minister's Krishi Karman Awards for progressive farmers and also distributed Kisan credit cards to select farmers. Prime Minister released third installment of PM Kisan of 2,000 rupees to 6 crore people today. PM Modi said that agriculture sector will have to play a bigger role in achieving the target of a $5 trillion economy. Prime Minister urged the Sant community to take the lead in mobilizing mass movements to protect the environment through putting an end to single-use plastic and water conservation. PM Modi accused the Congress of remaining silent on atrocities committed by Pakistan on minorities living in the country. He said people are questioning anti-CAA protests, especially since those leading the unrest have said nothing against the persecution faced by refugees from Pakistan. The 353rd birth anniversary of Guru Gobind Singh, the last Sikh Guru, is being observed today, also known as Gurpurab and Prakash Utsav, marks the birthday of the 10th Guru. It is one of the most sacred festivals in Sikhism and is also celebrated by other communities with equal fervour. President Ramnath Kovind paid homage to Guru Gobind Singh Ji on his birth anniversary today. In a tweet, the President said that Guru Gobind Singh has devoted his life to serving the people and upholding truth, justice and compassion, and may his teachings continue to inspire us. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid tribute to the Venerable Guru Gobind Singh on his Prakash Parv and said Guru Gobind Singh's values are at the roots of the creation of New India. He said he also hoped to create one by following his path. Senior Nationalist Congress party leader and former member of Parliament DP Tripathi passes away in New Delhi after prolonged illness. Devi Prasar Tripathi was General Secretary of the NCP. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu condoles death of former MP DP Tripathi. In a tweet, he says, deeply anguished to learn about the demise of NCP leader and senior parliamentarian DP Tripathi. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar condoles passing away of DP Tripathi, says DP Tripathi was a renowned political thinker who worked throughout his life despite visual impairment. He was an intellectual. Union Home Minister Amit Shah dedicates new campus of National Fire Service College in Nagpur, confers 15 President's Fire Service Medal for Gallantry today, also lays foundation stone of National Disaster Response Force Academy. While addressing ceremony of dedicating new campus of National Fire Service College in Nagpur, Maharashtra, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari says India has to improve in terms of disaster management. Minister also hopes that with the use of technology, disaster management can reach new heights. Death toll of infants in Rajasthan's Kota touches 100. Centre asks the Rajasthan government to take immediate remedial steps in the infant death case in Kota government hospitals. Senior BJP leaders of Rajasthan expressed grave concern over inaction of state government. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla sends letter to Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot urging strengthening of medical facilities in Kota. Kota infant death toll sparks grave concern among wide spectrum of the people. Fire breaks out at a factory in Piragarhi of West Delhi. 14 people, including 13 fire brigade personnel, injured. 35 fire tenders pressured into service to douse the fire. Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat holds first meeting with Headquarters Integrated Defence Staff branch heads in push for inter-services jointness today. CDS stress all must work towards accomplishing desired results and coming up with healthy views and ideas. After longest duration of severe cold days since 1992, Delhiites get some relief from the dense fog and cold wave that disrupted flight and train operations in North India for the past few days. Change in wind direction starts to show effect on temperature in and around Delhi. Pollution levels remain in severe category across Delhi NCR. PM 2.5 levels in Delhi registered at 425, Faridabad 426, Gurugram 402, Ghaziabad also at 402 and Noida at 450. Cold conditions continue to intensify in Uttarakhand as per predictions by the IMD. Rains witnessed in plains and snowfall in hilly regions, Lohajang in Chamoli district and Munsiari in Pithoragarh district received snowfall. Water-logging conditions in Nagpur in Maharashtra due to heavy rains. Many places in the city flooded. Motorists, especially two-wheel drivers, have to wade through water, making driving a difficult job. 14 scientists awarded Swarna Jayanti Fellowships for 2018 to 19. Awardees supported by Department of Science and Technology. Awardees will get fellowship of 25,000 rupees per month as well as a research grant of 5 lakh rupees for 5 years in addition to their salary. Day-long brainstorming on streamlining GST system and refunds, improving compliance and curbing GST evasion through data analytics and GST systems scheduled to be held under chairmanship of Union Revenue Secretary in New Delhi on 7th of January this year. Proposals of states or union territories and 6 ministries or departments shortlisted for participation in Republic Day Parade 2020 through well-established system for selection of W under Ministry of Defence today. External Affairs spokesperson Ravish Kumar says to media today that India is in good cooperation with Sri Lanka on release of Indian fishermen and there is hope for early resolution on the matter, also clarifies border issues with Nepal. Reserve Bank of India launches mobile application. Mobile-aided note identifier or money app would help visually challenged to identify denomination of currency notes. For the second month in a row, GST revenue collection scales 1 lakh crore rupees. Peak December mop-up stands at 1.03 lakh crore rupees. Telecom Regulatory Authority of India makes amendments to new regulatory framework for cable and broadcasting services under which cable TV users will be able to access more channels at lower subscription price. Tri-Cap's amount consumers will have to pay monthly for all free-to-air channels at 160 rupees. Also reduces maximum NCF charge to 130 rupees excluding taxes for 200 channels. BSE Sensex ends 320.62 points or 0.78% higher at 41,626.64. Similarly, NSE Nifty closes 99.70 points or 0.82% up at 12,282.20. Gold prices appreciate by rupees 38 to rupees 39,892 per 10 grams. Silver prices also gain by 21 rupees to 47,781 rupees per kg compared to 47,760 rupees per kg in previous trade, according to HDFC Securities. Rupee loses 16 paise to close at 71.38 against US dollar, and the global oil benchmark rises 0.50% to 66.33 US dollars per barrel. A study published in journal Nature shows a Google artificial intelligence system can detect breast cancer based on screening mammograms. Thousands of participants from marching bands to cheerleaders perform in streets of London for city's New Year's Day parade. London's New Year's Day parade funds for charities chosen by the London boroughs. Swimmers in Catania begin their new year with a dive into the Mediterranean Sea. Thousands of Dutch swimmers brave near-freezing temperatures to mark the start of the new year. Traditional North Sea swim has been held in the seaside town of Scheveningen since the 1960s. New Year revelers in Dunkirk in northern France wade into the chilly waters of the English Channel to herald in 2020. Emirate of Ras Al Khaimah in UAE makes history with New Year's Eve Gala clinching 2 Guinness World Record titles for fireworks display. City receives Guinness World Records for most unmanned aerial vehicles for launching fireworks simultaneously and for the longest fireworks waterfall. US West Coast welcomes New Year. 2020 Justice cleanup crews sweeping in New York Times Square from a party 3 hours earlier. Fireworks also lit up the sky above hotels of Las Vegas. New York welcomes the New Year 2020 with its century-long tradition of the iconic drop of a water-fought crystal ball on Times Square in New York. Around 400 protesters arrested as march on New Year's Day escalates into violence. Violence broke out as masses of citizens pressed authorities for further concessions in the Chinese-ruled city. Bank branches of global banking group HSBC suspend services after being damaged by protesters during New Year's Day protest. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he would ask Parliament to protect him from prosecution in the 3 graft cases he faces. Chinese President Xi Jinping exchanges congratulatory messages with his Ecuadorian counterpart Lenin Moreno on the 40th anniversary of the establishment of the two countries' diplomatic ties. Deaths toll from flash floods and landslides in and around Indonesia's capital Jakarta reached at least 21, with more heavy rain forecast. Thailand begins year 2020 with a ban on single-use plastic bags at major stores, continuing campaign launched by government and retailers towards complete ban in 2021 to reduce waste and debris in the sea. After US threatens reprisals against Iran, protesters who have been demonstrating outside the US embassy in Baghdad withdraw from the area. Australia authorizes forced evacuation of residents amid mass exodus of tourists from fire-ravaged coastal communities as the country braces for a weekend heat wave expected to fan deadly bushfires. New South Wales state government declares state of emergency, giving authorities power to forcibly evacuate people and take control of services. At least 18 people die in Australia's most devastating bushfire seasons yet, and 17 are still missing in the state. Taiwan's defense ministry reveals its top military officer and 7 others die after a helicopter crash lands in the mountains on Thursday. According to Defense Ministry of Taiwan, Chief of General Staff General Shen Yiming was killed under the UH-60M Black Hawk helicopter, which crashed in mountains near Taipei. As per local media reports in Japan, former Nissan boss Carlos Ghosn, who fled to Lebanon to avoid a Japanese trial, was carrying one of his 2 French passports even as Japan launched a probe into the embarrassing security lapse. 16 inmates killed, 5 wounded in prison fight in northern Mexico of Mexican state of Zacatecas in one of the worst outbreaks of violence in the country's penal system since President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador took power. Nepal's President Vidyadevi Bhandari launches much-awaited Visit Nepal Year 2020 campaign amidst a spectacular ceremony held at the historic Dasharatha Rangashala in Kathmandu. Nepal's Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation Yogesh Bhattarai says government has a goal of making tourism one of the key pillars of Nepal's economy. On the occasion, India's Minister of State for Tourism and Culture Prahlad Singh Patel says India and Nepal have age-old cultural and social ties, and enthusiasm among youth will make the campaign successful. Former Prime Minister and ex-Army General Umaro Sissoko Embalo wins Guinea-Bissau's presidential vote, but his opponent complains of fraud and vows to contest the result in court. Japan's new emperor Naruhito hopes for a year without natural disasters, delivering his first New Year's speech since ascending the chrysanthemum throne to tens of thousands of well-wishers. Thousands of Chilean protesters gather in Santiago to welcome 2020. Demonstrations over inequality in Chile have raged for weeks, leaving at least 26 dead and causing billions of dollars in damages to public infrastructure. China approves the first domestically made vaccine, Kecholin, against cancer-causing human papillomavirus. It was jointly developed by Innovax, a biotechnology company based in Xiamen, in cooperation with Xiamen University. India records highest number of babies born globally on New Year's Day. reported UNICEF. Nearly 400,000 babies born around the world on New Year's Day, with India recording the highest number of these births worldwide at 67,385. UN World Population Report released in June last year says India is projected to overtake China as the world's most populous country this decade by 2027. Researchers settle a decades-long debate that two small fossils unearthed in 2000 with features like the predatory Tyrannosaurus rex do not represent a separate genus but are just T-Rex kids. Studies published in the journal Science Advances. Scientists at the Indian Institute of Science in Bengaluru working on a novel method to diagnose a broad range of diseases which use the mechanical properties of cells as compared to commonly used chemical-based lab tests. Annual river ice cover will decline by about 6 days for every 1 degree Celsius increase in global temperatures, posing economic and environmental consequences, researchers published in the journal Nature. Researchers show that a novel protein derived from blood cells that aid in clotting can be used as therapy to improve outcomes following a heart attack, an advance that may lead to new treatment for cardiac arrest. Studies published in the journal Science Translational Medicine. On course to seal a berth for the Tokyo Games, former world champion Mirabai Chanu maintains her 8th spot in Olympic qualifiers ranking list released by International Weightlifting Federation in the race for Olympic qualification. Rajasthan Royals appoint New Zealand leg spinner Ish Sodhi as their spin consultant for the 2020 edition of the Indian Premier League. 27-year-old was part of the Royal squad in the 2018 and 2019 before being released ahead of last month's IPL auction. Saudi Arabia's hosting of Dakar Rally this month is just the latest international sporting event to take place in the kingdom as part of a multi-billion-dollar push to boost its battered global image. In recent months, the Saudi kingdom has accelerated investment in sports, mirroring a long-standing strategy adopted by regional powers, the United Arab Emirates and Qatar. Former world number 3 Grigor Dimitrov saw his ranking slump last year as he struggled with a shoulder injury. But the Bulgarian said he will not push himself too hard, too fast to return to the top of tennis. The 28-year-old was laid low early in the season and was far from his best after he returned to action. Ben Stokes returns to the scene of one of his most spectacular performances, but the circumstances are different going to the second test between England and South Africa at Newlands on Friday. Smoke haze could come into play as New Zealand looked to salvage some pride from the miserable tour of Australia in the third and final test in Sydney this week. With bushfires raging across New South Wales state, day 2 of the match on Saturday shapes up as the biggest challenge, with temperatures forecast to soar and smoggy conditions expected. Paul Pogba to undergo surgery on recurring ankle injury and expected to spend another month on the sidelines. Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer confirms after his side's 2-0 defeat to Arsenal. Justin Thomas's all-round game has made him one of the talented players on the PGA Tour, and the American will try to carry that momentum into this week's Tournament of Champions, the first event of 2020. Thomas, Dustin Johnson and John Braham are the headliners for the event as the tour returns from a December hiatus at the Par 73 Plantation course in Kapalua, Hawaii. Arsenal rang in the new year by giving boss Mikel Arteta his first victory as lackluster Manchester United crashed to a 2-0 defeat, while Tottenham and Chelsea also slip up in the Premier League's top 4 race. Tottenham waiting to find out the extent of Harry Kane's hamstring injury after the striker leaves Southampton Stadium on crutches after a 1-0 loss at Southampton. Kane picks up the problem in the process of scoring an offside goal, sparking fears he could be set for a lengthy spell on the sidelines. Australia and New Zealand cricketers will pay tribute to firefighters and bushfire victims during the third test in Sydney as they prepare for possible delays if air quality plummets due to smoke. Ali Reza Jahanbakhsh's spectacular overhead kick earns Brighton a share of the points against Chelsea and dampen Frank Lampard's New Year celebrations as Aston Villa secure a vital win against Burnley. Much-awaited elections of the Archery Association of India will be held on January 18 at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in New Delhi. Delhi High Court appoints P.K. Tripathi as returning officer for the elections. Young left-handed opener Manjot Kalra, who scored 100 in the final of the last edition of Under-19 World Cup, suspended by outgoing DDCA ombudsman for 1 year from playing Ranji Trophy for an alleged age fraud during his Under-16 and Under-19 days. Fully aware that there is no opening for him in the current Indian Test team, promising Gujarat top-order batsman Priyank Panchal wants to keep scoring runs consistently to remain in the hunt. India's batting lineup is sorted with Rohit Sharma, Mayank Agarwal at the top, while there are backups in Shubman Gill and Prithvi Shaw. Experienced Pole Robert Kubica will be a reserve driver for Alfa Romeo in the 2020 season. Team announces Kubica made his return to Formula One with Williams last season following a long absence caused by a life-threatening rally crash. Indian women's hockey team defender Sunita Lakrab, who was part of the 2018 Asian Games silver winning side, announces her international retirement, citing knee injury which would require another surgery. ATP Cup to make fresh mark in Australia starting on Friday and played across Sydney, Brisbane and Perth before the finals in the harbour city. Serbian superstar Novak Djokovic says there was no point in having two men's team tennis competitions and suggested the new ATP Cup should merge with the Davis Cup. The ATP Cup is about to kick off its inaugural edition, replacing a number of previous Australian Open warm-up tournaments with the new round-robin competition. ATP Cup will see 24 nations split into 6 groups across 3 Australian cities, with 8 teams emerging from the round-robin to compete in a knockout phase until one country is left standing. Maria Sharapova to compete at the Brisbane International in January after receiving a wild card. 32-year-old former world number 1 played just 15 matches in 2019 because of a long-term shoulder injury. Two-time Olympic medalist Sushil Kumar opts out of Friday's selection trials for next month's Asian Championships and the Continental Olympic qualifying event to be held in March. Sushil said he was yet to fully recover from a shoulder injury and submitted a medical certificate to the Wrestling Federation of India. He has requested that the trials for 74 kg category be postponed. Sri Lanka named 16-man squad which will take on India in series of 3 T20 international matches in January 2020. Angelo Matthews, who last played a T20 16 months ago, has been redrafted into the side. Lasith Malinga will lead the team. Neither criticism nor the burden of expectations bothers world champion shuttler PV Sindhu, who says she is completely focused on improving her craft in pursuit of a second Olympic medal at this year's Tokyo Games. World number 4 Dominic Thiem expresses confidence new Grand Slam champion will be crowned in 2020 outside the big 3 of Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. While Alexander Zverev, Stefanos Tsitsipas and others have had success at lesser tournaments, the big guns continue to dominate the majors. Hardik Pandya and Natasha Stankovic announced their engagement on the first day of the new year after the Indian cricketer revealed the news on social media. Hardik took to Instagram to share a photo of himself and Natasha Stankovic with their engagement rings. Good News starring Akshay Kumar and Kareena Kapoor Khan earns over 100 crore rupees at the box office. Makers of the film, which released on December 27, 2019, collected 110.10 crore rupees in 6 days of its release. Actor Janhvi Kapoor says she is aware there were people who felt she didn't tick all the boxes with her debut Dharak, but she has taken it in her stride. After a gap of a year, she will be seen this year in diverse projects ranging from Zoya Akhtar's Ghost Stories, the biopic Gunjan Saxena, the Kargil Girl and the horror comedy Ruhi Afza. Actor Abhishek Bachchan, who had been away from the arc lights for a while, is making a comeback with a vengeance. The actor shared a poster of his upcoming film The Big Bull. Ajay Devgan to be seen as an Indian Air Force pilot in one of his upcoming films Bhuj, The Pride of India. Director Abhishek Dhudaya took to Twitter to share the first look of the film. Actor Lindsay Lohan says she is planning to return to the US this year and start working on new films. 33-year-old actor who is staying in Muscat in Oman told CNN about her plans. First trailer for horror sequel Quiet Place Part 2 released, directed by John Krasinski. Film will pick up from where the original left off. The Last Color, starring Neena Gupta, is among 344 feature films in the running for a nomination in the Best Picture category for the 2020 Academy Awards. That's all in this edition of Express News. We'll be back again tomorrow with more of the top stories. Keep watching DD India. Namaskar.